Hello, good morning and welcome to News Desk. Coming up, Parliament summons the Interior Minister over strange killings of 2 night-duty security guards in Wa and mysterious deaths in the Savannah region.
As soon as possible, the minister should be programmed, but he also needs to be given time to prepare and come brief the House properly.
We have details as the Ghana Police Service vows to bring perpetrators to book. Also in this bulletin, businessman Richard Jakpa challenges the Attorney General to provide his version of their explosive WhatsApp chats as he clashes with the state prosecutor in a confrontational cross-examination. We'll hear from the AG, who has been advised to recuse himself.
Oh, the judge has given a ruling. That's how the law works. If you think you don't want something to be admitted, you raise an objection. This is the duty of the judge to make a pronouncement of such objections. The judge has done so. That's rule of law.
Also in this bulletin, Ghana Investment Promotion Center calls on the Ghana Revenue Authority to tactically enforce tax compliance.
That we call on the private sector to comply with taxes, but we're also calling on GRA to be a bit more modest in terms of how they handle the private sector businesses.
And that's coming up in business. My name is Faustina Safa. Take a seat, be my guest. Thanks for choosing us. Now we start with the Interior Minister, Henry Quartey, who has been summoned by Parliament to come to the House on Wednesday, June 26, to brief the House on measures being taken by government to address the recent killing of private security personnel in Bole and Wa in the Upper West region. Now on Tuesday, the bodies of 2 night security guards were found, with one of them burnt beyond recognition in Wa. My colleague Kenneth Jesse was in Parliament. He filed this report.
The MP for Bole, Yusuf Suleimana, has called on the Interior Minister Henry Quartey to put in place pragmatic measures to end the recent serial killings in his constituency. Now, he said the serial killings are gradually resulting in a self-imposed curfew, causing people to sleep early due to fear of possible attacks and killings. Now, the MP said the mysterious deaths plaguing the area is becoming a source of worry and needs urgent attention.
And I can report to you that the people of Bole are living in fears. Between May and June, 3 people lost their lives through serial killing. And this morning, I also read, or I watched Metro TV, and also heard that 2 people have been murdered in a very similar manner in Wa. The Minister of Interior last week sent some men and women to Bole to help curb this situation. However, I think that much more is needed to be able to avert the situation.
The MP for Wa Central, Rashid Pelpo, also said a similar situation is happening in his constituency and urged the Ghana Police Service and the Interior Minister to act quickly to avert more killings.
We are worried about the situation. We are worried that lives are lost and not much is done to investigate and bring out the murderers and perpetrators of this crime. And we are calling on the police to be up and doing. This is very basic to my thinking, that if people are killed and they are still in the same vicinity today and no arrest has been made yet, the Speaker, we think that some more has to be done.
In Sawem Adwejiri MP Frank Anadompre shared in the sentiments of his colleague MPs and appealed to the Speaker of Parliament to drag the Minister for Interior to the House for briefing on the security situation in both constituencies.
Also speak in solidarity
for lives to be lost is unacceptable, and our hearts go out there to my dear friend from Bole And Wa Deaths. And so join your nation on the call for the speaker, for the minister to apprise the House on happenings. Just not too sure if we can give a date. You know, these are security matters, and often we have to give the minister notification. Then, before they come to the House, they have to prepare. So I'll leave that discretion to the speaker. But as soon as possible, I'm in total agreement. I'm saying the same thing. As soon as possible, the minister should be programmed. But he also needs to be given time to prepare and come brief the House properly.
Now, the second Deputy Speaker of the House, Andrew Amwakon Esiama, urged the various MPs to liaise with the Interior Minister before briefing the House next week, Wednesday.
Very well. Let's table kindly inform the Minister to brief the House next week, Wednesday. Next week, Wednesday. Next week, Wednesday. So that is my ruling.
Today's proceedings were delayed by more than 5 hours following two key developments. One is the hands-off hotel demonstration, which had most of the minority MPs in attendance, and the ambulance purchase trial involving minority leader Cassiel Atto-Forson. Reporting from the House of Legislature, Kenneth Jesse for Joy News.
Well, the Ghana Police Service has vowed to bring perpetrators of the killings of the two security men in Wa to book as they commence investigations into the incident. Well, on your screens now is a statement released by the police service on Tuesday. It says the Ghana Police Service has commenced investigations into circumstances surrounding the death of two persons in the Wa municipality of the Upper West region. The two incidents were recorded today, 18th June 2024, at the Wa East Education Service Office and the Wa Model JHS School. We would like to assure the public, especially the residents of Wa, to remain calm as the police work to get those involved arrested to face justice. Well, that's a statement from the Ghana Police Service assuring that justice will be served. Now, my colleague Rafik Salam, who's on the ground, has been engaging some residents after these killings, and they are expressing fears that this is something new in their community. Let's listen to them.
Father's Day, they asked me about that and say, what celebration can we celebrate? So once he said that, I say, oh, what do you want? He asked me, he want one drink. So I bought a drink for him. I think that's the drink that I bought to him, and that's all.
So it means that those were your last moment with your father?
Of course.
Okay, now he's been stabbed to death. What do you want to be done?
Only God. And now
we have to live in fear. If this thing can happen to him, it can equally happen to anybody.
Event has happened. We have not heard anything. The case has come to sleep. And for right now, how can we be rest assured that our security is safeguarded?
Well, security analyst Dr. Adam Bona joins us live with more here on Newstext. Thank you so much for your time. Now, let's do an analysis on the style of these murders. For an area like Wa, is this new?
Can you repeat what you said? Your voice is very low.
I'm hoping you can hear me clearer now. I wanted us to do an analysis of the style of these murders. For an area like Wa, is this a new way of killing?
Well, I don't want to believe it is a new way of killing. I wouldn't want to believe it's a new way of killing, but what I can say is that these types of killings have gone on for a while. And remember, what we have witnessed in the Upper West is not an isolated case. If you know what is happening in the Bole area, there has been something similar happening in the Bole area. The Bole area, we are hearing right around 8:30 p.m., everyone runs indoor. So you will not find people on the streets of Bole. If you know Bole very well, and Bole links there. If you are heading to Wa from the Chiman area, you will go through Bole usually. And so, and these two towns are interrelated. And so what is happening looks too similar, for anyone not to realize or not to establish a certain connection. And I have stated that, you see, investigators and the intelligence community have not probably done what is expected, and they have not probably looked at certain areas and broadened the scope of their investigations. Yesterday, I spoke to some of the persons who are in charge of the region security in the Upper West. I spoke to them and drew their attention to an area that they are missing as part of their investigations. And it has to do with Galamsey. Anyone who knows the modus operandi of Galamseyers, usually, not all of them, but we are told, and we hear, and we have read, that when people die, they discover more gold. And if you know where the Upper West is, Upper West connects, Upper West has gold, the Savannah Belt has gold. There is a lot of bricks activities going on within that area, especially, is it they call it dollar power. The question I've asked is that, has anyone who is investigating this probably looked at the area of Galamsey? Are some Galamseyers involved as part of their occultic way or voodoo way of discovering gold? Are they beginning to use human sacrifice? Are they beginning to kill people in order to discover gold? We are told in some Galamsey areas that when you go underground and the pit collapse on you, the next day it's a bumper harvest, they harvest a lot of gold. And so I am actually putting it out there that they should broaden their scope. Around these times that these persons got lost or they were killed, both in the Bole area and in the Upper West, did they see some campaigns in the Galamsey business, probably who had left the Bole area or the Dollar Power area or other mining areas in the Upper West or the Savannah area into some of these regions and the rivers? And so mine is that let's not just limit it to probably someone who is out there who is insane and killing people. But what I'm saying is that the scope of investigation needs to be broadened to know whether somebody is actually, or some Galamseyers probably are working using human blood, because that is their belief. Some of them believe that with the use of human blood, as we have heard, there is some myths out there, with the use of human blood, human sacrifice, they find more gold. And so until such a time that investigators will narrow it down and get to know, because then it doesn't make sense, get to know why these guys are doing that, or someone is killing, because this looks too good to be true. That for Upper West or Wa alone, several people have been killed. You go to and about the same number of people have been killed around the Bole area. Under similar circumstances, they slit their throats, some body parts are removed, and this particular one that happened, I think the one we are discussing.
Yeah, just on Tuesday.
We are told that they saw some tarmacs. It means that these people came in a vehicle. And they slit the person's throat. I mean, if you strangle the person, if you are a serial killer, you strangle the person is dead, you leave the person. You only slit the person's throat. If probably you want something more than killing the person. And what you want more than killing the person, what do you need that thing for? If it is blood, what do you need it for? Do you need it to, excuse me to say, you know, without offending other people, to go cook or to go do what? But like I said, from the Savannah belt all the way to the upper west and beyond, it's full of gold. And the young people are mining left and right. So I think that the scope of investigation should not just be narrowed down to, what do you call that, should not just be narrowed down to
serial killing.
It's too good to be true. I mean, about 18 or 20 or so people have been killed in the Bole area, and about the same number of people have been killed in in the Upper West. And you know, it looks like it's becoming difficult to know who is doing that.
Yeah.
And it's a hated killing we are seeing. So mine is that I spoke to some of them, some of the heads of security, those who are in charge of the region security, and told them that broaden your scope. Just don't limit it to looking for some serial killer. I think that this thing is highly related to Galamsey. It's highly related to Galamsey, and so they should begin to fish out some of these Galamseys. Begin to fish them out. Who and who came into town? Who and who were not in town and came back into town? And around the same time, when this thing happened, did they leave town? Once you begin to narrow it to that point, then you'll be making some inroad into getting to know whether this thing is connected to Galamsey. But I will tell you, without any fear that this thing could be linked to Galamsey. I must be very honest with you.
But the Interior Minister, we know, has been summoned to brief Parliament next week on measures being taken by government to address the recent killings, even as we wait for that meeting. Now, what do you advise our approach should be when it comes to security in areas like this, bearing in mind that you're now saying we should broaden the scope of the investigation?
Well, what I would say, yesterday I spoke to some of them in the upper west, the head of security, the head of those who are in charge of the region security. I told them that it is you know, time for them to give out hotlines, because the truth is that anyone who knows the Upper West very well will tell you that there is a mantra they call Tijabunyin. What it means is that we are all one. We are one people. So it's difficult for someone to walk to the police station to go and report someone who might be involved in crime. But if you give a hotline, and then you probably with a bounty on people's heads, if you have information, give it to us. That will help. With the hotline, someone can sit at the comfort of his own, or his farm, or her farm, and call you and say, you know what, I think this person came into town. We don't know what the person came to do. The person has just left town quickly. Maybe the person drives this type of car. And then so you can connect the tires and what you saw at the ground and be able to know something. And apart from that, you see, these criminals don't live in isolation. They live among us. There is somebody in the upper world. There's somebody in Wa. There's somebody somewhere who knows who these persons are. So mine is that it will be difficult, even if you deploy the entire security architecture of this country to Wa or Bole area, it will still be very difficult to confront this type of crime, especially when the people are not ready to talk. So mine is that our state of alertness must heighten. We should begin to give information out there through mediums such as yours. If you see some persons who probably have just come into town, you don't know them, they are acting suspiciously, and also leave information with hotels, with guest houses, with facilities that people would come and usually lodge. You know, in this part of the world, we are one of the places where you go to lodge and usually no one takes your ID card in some of the facilities. But I think that the Ministry of Tourism, this should not just be left to the Interior Ministry. The Ministry of Tourism, of which the hotels and guest houses and restaurants come under, should be part and active in this fight against what is going on in the Savannah region, in the, in the Upper West and the rest. So that they go through the books of these hoteliers and the rest to know whether they know who is coming and who is leaving their facility and at what time. Because as we speak, it would have been so easy to go to all the hotels in the Upper West and start looking at their books. Who visited at this time and left at what time? And what car did that person come with?
And finally,
what car did they come with? But unfortunately, it looks like we have just narrowed it to just the ministry or the security aspect of it. But what is happening needs a comprehensive approach towards fighting and, ensuring that the perpetrators are arrested. But once we limit it to just the Minister of Interior, it will be difficult.
So Adam, Bona, stay with me because I'll come to you for my final words. Let me bring in Rafiq Salam. He's on the ground. He's been engaging residents. Now, key concern is about security in the area. Has the police beefed up security in the area?
This morning, when I got into the heart of the town, I'm talking about Central Business District, I saw many policemen and also armed military men are in town patrolling the streets in Wa. But speaking to residents, yes, they are happy that at least we've gotten these security personnel in town, but they want them to up the ante. These investigations that they are doing, for them, they are not getting any results, because a couple of years ago, when this issue came up, where about 13 people were killed, lots of security men were deployed, a lot of investigations were done, but they haven't seen in the report. For them, they think that it's much ado about nothing.
Well, Rafiq, stay with me. Let me bring in Adam Bona, because that's the concern now. The police, they vow to bring perpetrators to book, but similar incidents such as this have happened in the past, yet we failed to bring these perpetrators to book. And in this case, just what happened on Tuesday, the killers are still working loose. So as a resident, what should I do?
What you do, you see something, you say something. But just like I'm saying, I think that the entire security architecture of this place would have to be turned upside down and then down up in a way. I'm saying this.
A complete overhaul, you say?
And people in the Upper West would say, so you have your relation who probably, you don't know how he came about his car. You don't know how this person, this person probably is a serial killer. But you will not go to the police station to report. That is the problem. And so mine is that without saying the police, without, I'm not speaking for the police, but mine is that while we ask the police to do more, while we ask because we have the NIB in the region, we have all of them in the region, whilst we ask them to do more, there can never be any potent security than the people. So the people should be up and going. When you see something, pick up the phone or report to somebody. But the police, the people they've sent there, and the national security and the NIB people, mine is that, once again, when it is difficult to even sometimes know what some of those who are supposed to be collecting data in terms of intelligence are doing. So I think it needs a comprehensive approach in dealing with this issue. But the moment we leave it at the doorstep of just the security agencies, meanwhile, somebody is shielding a serial killer, you have rented your house or your room to a serial killer who lives very close to you, but you don't want to talk. So mine is that there has to be a way to bring everybody on board. But I think our Whistleblowers Act has not been used as much as it should have been used. If I report somebody who is a serial killer, or I help you nail somebody who you are looking for, what do I get? There are provisions in there, but unfortunately, we have not used it the way it should be used. So I think that the police should do more, the security of the region should do more. But like I'm saying, let's deal with Galamsey. Those who are in Galamsey, who are probably into Galamsey, around Bole, you have about 19, 20, 22 people dying in similar fashion in the Bole area. The same number of people have died around the same time in the Upper West, in similar fashion. And when you take, like I said, I don't want to sound being repetitive, but the same from that area to the Upper West is full of gold. So these young people might be doing something that we know they are used to doing down south where they say when a pit collapses on you, you find more gold. So is it that they are killing people in a way? And you know they have money. They are very sophisticated. So the police should do more. They should be communicating with the people. Their fines. But like I said, let's get a hotline. If we have a hotline,
thank you so much.
If I hear something, I can call and give information. Just one tip they need. One tip they need, and they will be able to arrest the perpetrators. Do we have several serial killers, or we have just a lone serial killer? And why is this person? What is the motive? We need to be able to establish intention and motive.
And I'm sure that's why the police investigations is quite necessary at this time. Thank you so much, Adam Bona. Very sorry to catch you there, but unfortunately we've run out of time. Now, I'll wrap up with Rafiq Salam. You are on the ground, so residents, you say they want the police service to do more. What's the general mood apart from this?
General mood in town is a little bit of calm in the municipality. We have a rainy morning. But let me add this, that the other concern about the people has to do with the age group of these security men that have been killed. You know, if we watch the past couple of 3-4 years, the security men that were killed, the age group is between 50, 55 and up to about 70 years. And so because of the poverty levels of the people, you have these people who have employed 9 security men, given peanuts, and even where they stay is another issue that they are talking about. They are mostly left at the verandas of these agencies or organizations or shops that they are taking care of. And so because of that, they are vulnerable. And so the people want a change in the status quo. At least the people that are taking that security men, at least the age group, it's not the best. Because some of them are above the retirement age and they are employed, and the only thing that they use to get a job is the mosquito net, who the people really are worried about.
Thank you so much, Rafiq Salam, joining us there from WA with details about the WA killing. Now, we'll be monitoring the situation and give you updates as at when we have it. Now, let's stay with the minority in Parliament and organized labor, because they are demanding the immediate dismissal of government appointees on the Senate board and management for their involvement in the proposed sale of 60% stake of 4 hotels to Brian A. Champon's company, Rock City Hotel. Well, this call comes on the back of a demonstration to put pressure on government to block the sale of the hotels to Rock City Hotel Limited. Maxwell Gregor has more in this report.
All unite to
Hundreds of them poured onto the streets wearing red and singing patriotic songs. Intermittently, the songs were changed to reflect their mood and anger. They are calling on President Akufo-Addo to immediately stop the sale of the state hotels.
This land, the hotels, what is important is that the Alodian landowners must be given equity share in this hotel. There's nothing wrong with giving 30% of the equity shares of all these hotels to the Alodian landowners. And therefore, if you are going to sell it, sit down with them, think about it. Now, what is the benefit to our people? Have you thought about it? Who is going to take over? How much is the hotel sold? What procurement processes do they follow for a sitting member of parliament and a sitting minister of state to benefit from information that is sacred for anyone to contest for procurement processes? This is a violation of ethical rules.
And we will never sit down to let this happen. Ghanaian youth, this is the time. This is the time. Don't sit back and say, it is really important that we all see the importance for we to come together and fight against this oppression.
There was an unexpected guest at the protest, the Lawulono, Ni Yemo Obroni, who is the high priest of La. He intermittently poured libation during the protest. He invoked the gods to deal with persons he says are not only grabbing state properties but looting their lands.
I'm the chief priest of the land. So they are taking our property on lawful way without we Alodian masters' consent. Do you understand? So if I'm a chief priest, I have to fight for my right. Because I have kids coming. Do you understand me? Yeah. So we need to tell the government that any land belong to La Gadangme, they should never dare. They should give our land to X. We don't want problem with you.
Yeah, which land specifically are you talking about?
Chado, Trade Fair, the OTEX, Beach Pump License Office. Here. They have been sold to somebody. Pass and Garden, back here, no. What is this?
And you say the government has taken the lands without your consent?
Exactly. Government collaboration with the land commission. And this kind of land commission, they are bogus so far so good. They are useless commission over there. They have been stolen all our lands.
Part of the capital city is currently on lockdown as a result of the hands off our hotels demonstration. What you can see right now are vehicles waiting in this gridlock. They cannot move because the protesters have taken over the road. On the road in front of the Labadi Beach Hotel and the La Palm Beach Hotel. As you can see, these vehicles heading to the Central Business District and other parts of the capital are unable to move. Those also moving towards 37, the Awak Sports Stadium, Bema Camp area and its environs are unable to move. No vehicle is able to move at this point. It's a gridlock and a bumper-to-bumper situation. It was all peaceful until a scuffle broke out between the protesters and personnel of the Ghana Police Service. Police was forced to use pepper spray to disperse the agitated crowd. The protesters had tried going beyond police barricade. North-Tongue Member of Parliament Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa says Parliament would take a serious view of the issue. He says some of the demonstrators were injured in the process.
We asked colleagues to rush them to the hospital. I suspect they are at the 37 hospitals, but I don't have the current report on their status because I've been presenting the petition. But I'm going there right away with our colleagues, and we will not abandon them in the battlefield. We are going to check up on them, and we'll keep you updated.
So what exactly happened to them, though?
Unprovoked, tear gas, pepper spray, and a number of them collapsed, a number of them got injured. Totally unacceptable. The police have exhibited bad faith. We agreed that we will terminate at Christ the King Church. Christ the King Church. This is not Christ the King Church. So why take us by surprise and then on top of that use pepper spray, use tear gas? We cannot accept that. We will look into this. I've told the regional police commander that Parliament is going to take a strong view of this, and you will certainly hear from us on this one.
Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa later presented a 15-point petition to the Deputy Chief of Staff, Emmanuel Edumwa Bosman.
We call on President Akufo-Addo to immediately stop the sale of our state hotels. 2, we take the view that state assets should not be sold, especially profitable ones. Historically, since 1966, the sale of state assets has not been in the supreme interest of Ghana, and we therefore cannot continue on that destructive trajectory. In any case, the government should not sell workers' properties without the permission and consent of workers and all Ghanaians. It is wrong, immoral, and unethical for ministers and government officials to buy state assets. President Akufo-Addo must not preside over this detestable and dangerous practice, particularly when he assured the nation that his appointees who want to make money through such transactions should rather stay in the private sector.
The Deputy Chief of Staff, Emmanuel Edumwa Bosman, received the petition and said government will study it and get back with feedback.
We want to keep in the spirit of democracy. As you know, this year is an election year. We want to do everything in a clean, peaceful, and calm manner. So I've received this petition on behalf of the President, I'll submit same, and I can assure you that it will be looked into and the appropriate measures taking place as and when it is deemed fit and proper to do so. Thank you so very much, and God bless us all.
Well, businessman Richard Jakpa is challenging the Attorney General to provide his version of the explosive WhatsApp chats as he clashes with state prosecutor in a confrontational cross-examination in the ongoing ambulance procurement trial on Tuesday. In a painstaking proceeding on the first full day of the prosecution's cross-examination of Richard Jakpa, which focused mostly on his early days as military officer, the third accused revealed that he was victimized by the hierarchy of the Ghana Armed Forces because of his father. While Latif Idrisu was in court, he filed this report.
The audio recording was first put in the public domain by the opposition NDC after Richard Jakpa had said in open court he has been in meetings with the Attorney General trying to impress on him to give testimonies to ultimately convict the minority leader, Dr. Casey Latoforsen.
Well, they are claiming it's a doctored tape. I didn't say that. So they should bring the original. You should tell the original to the court.
But why did you record the Attorney General?
Well, that is not for you.
He says you've been disingenuous.
But that's what he claims. If
that it was
prosecuting innocent people, who is disingenuous?
It was a private conversation, and now you put it out.
You claim it's a private conversation.
That's what he says.
Well, a private conversation, when it's a conversation that leads to committing crimes, it can no longer be private.
At that press conference, where the audio was played, chairman of the opposition NDC, Asiedun Ketia, who ran commentary on the audio, described the Attorney General as the torchbearer of injustice in relation to the court action against the minority leader, and that instead of seeking justice, the Attorney General is rather hell-bent on securing the incarceration of the minority leader.
In my view, if we agree to this theory, it's so simple, the theory of the case.
Not agree to the way you want to go, the way you want to go about it.
So let's agree. Let's describe it that way. Let's describe it that way. Do you want to go about it?
Okay,
if fine. Agree this way. It makes it simple.
Yes, it will make it fine.
It doesn't involve any difficulty for you.
Yes, I agree. I understand your point. That it doesn't.
When you say there's no advancement, and then even next week, the whole of next week, I'll not be around. There's a way of you not even finishing next week. I would appreciate.
Oh no! Okay, no, I'll not finish next week. I don't think I'll be able to finish because the documents are many.
Because the first accused has already opened and closed his case, his lawyers relied on the content of that recording to ask for a mistrial, an application the trial judge dismissed, in addition with an application to injunct the Attorney General in the ongoing trial and conduct an inquiry into his conduct. In court on Thursday, the trial judge, in a 10-page ruling, readmitted the audio recording into evidence to now form part of the substantive case itself. According to lawyers for Dr. Casey Latoforsen, the recording borders on the letters of credit and the terms of the contract signed between the government of Ghana and Big C to make the case that at the time the Attorney General pressed charges of causing financial loss, he did not have the full facts of the matter. Tell us what you make of Richard Jakpa's testimony today.
He has given his evidence, isn't it? So we are here to test it. You wait on Thursday and beyond, Tuesday and beyond. You get the full story, so don't worry.
What do you make of his testimony?
He has given his evidence in chief. That's his case. But if you come to court and state your case, it doesn't mean that you made your case. I just want to rest it there. We are going to examine him. I don't know, you make your own judgment.
Do you find it credible, the evidence?
Whether it's credible or not credible. He has given his evidence, and I don't want to prejudge us before the court. That's his case. We also confront him with our case, and the court will make a decision out of it.
But are you surprised with the kind of things that he's been saying?
I will not say, because already it's something in the audios that we've heard, so it's not something new.
He made a point that the AG is urging him to get forcing him to be jailed for at least 1 month.
I don't want to comment because you see, it's a life matter. That's evidence in chief, and as counsel, I don't have to comment on specific. But as I said, when we come to court on Tuesday, all those things will be tackled.
But what's your initial reaction on the ruling?
Oh, the judge decided to make a ruling, and that's how the law works. Today, the judge said our objections are not something that she was going to take. We take it.
You think you have enough under your sleeves to undo what Richard Jakpa has said to court today?
Rest it there, and wait for our side of the matter, and you'll be marveled. You rest it there.
The audio, you didn't want the judge to readmit it into evidence. That has happened. Are you disappointed?
Oh, the judge has given a ruling. That's how the law works. If you think you don't want something to be admitted, you raise an objection. This is the duty of the judge to make a pronouncement of such objections. The judge has done so. That's rule of law.
You didn't want it because you felt it wouldn't do well for your case. How bad or damaging is this, admission of the audio to your case?
Not at all, because this audio is something that you have heard, isn't it? Having to heard it, you've heard it. So that is new in it. But it's about procedure. So in terms of the content, we are not minded by that because it's something that is in the public domain. But as to whether you can tender a recorded or secretly recorded audio is something that we wanted to test, because that's why we're talking about law, not about public sentiments, whether you are comfortable, you're not comfortable. It's about due process. And the judge says that that's due process. It can be tendered. We are going by it.
He also talked about the WhatsApp chat between himself and the Attorney General. Do you find that to be credible, or is something that has been made up?
Whether it's credible or not credible, I said it's a life matter. As a lawyer of at least 22 years standing, I will not conduct my case in the media by saying it's credible, it's not credible. But come to court on Tuesday and hear our side of the matter.
One question that will not run away is the absence of the Attorney General in court. Is it now clear that he's headed to
He reserves the right to be in court. He reserves the right not to be in court. At the time that he wants to be in court, you see him. If he doesn't want to be in court, you also not see him. So it's just normal.
The last time we asked you, you told us that the department, the Attorney General's department, is studying the advice by the sitting judge. Has that been conclusive yet? Reason why he didn't show up in court?
Leave it there. The Attorney General does not prosecute all the cases in our office. If in this particular matter, sometimes he comes, other times he doesn't come. Today he's not in. It doesn't mean that next time he will not be coming. So you leave it there. Tuesday, Wednesday, next month, I'm saying this matter that we started, we are going to prosecute it to its conclusion.
Would the approach of the Attorney General change following this testimony by Richard Jakpa, today's testimony?
What approach? What approach? If you can.
In handling the entire case.
Attorney General, he's vested with the power to prosecute, and if he needs to prosecute...
I'm talking about the department, not Godfrey Adami. I'm talking about Attorney General's department.
Like, we are people that prosecuting, do our work as officers of the ministry. So for us, we are paid by taxpayer. What approach is going to take? Because the attorneys are paid by the state, they must work because they are being paid. So if they have to come to court to prosecute, they'll come to court and prosecute.
So the strategy wouldn't change?
There's no strategy. Whether it's a strategy or there's no strategy, we are prosecuting a specific matter. We are looking at the law, looking at the evidence. We don't take our eyes off the ball. If you do that, by the time you realize, you are down. And I think when it comes to prosecution, prosecutors in the AG's office are seasoned prosecutors, and their eyes are always on the ball. And this is what we are doing.
According to Richard Jakpa, that from his interaction with the Attorney General and also the pressure being mounted on him by his extended family, he knows that the prosecution of Dr. Kesilato Forson is nothing but something that is born out of political convenience and vindictiveness.
Well, news just coming to us is that the Supreme Court has barred celebrities from promoting alcoholic drinks. Well, the Supreme Court, by a majority decision, upheld an FDA directive that bars celebrities from endorsing alcoholic drinks in a lawsuit brought by CEO of Black Culture Music, Mark Osei, now ending a highly publicized 19-month legal battle. The Wednesday ruling by the Supreme Court effectively means that, well, all known celebrities would have to stop promoting alcoholic drinks. Now, we'll give you more on that in subsequent bulletin, especially GN today. We're taking a quick breather. We'll be back with Business Tuesday.
Hi, good morning. Welcome to Business. My name is Darrell Kwao. The Deputy Chief Executive of the Ghana Investment Promotion Center, Yao Amwati Nefri, has called on the Ghana Revenue Authority to be tactical in enforcing tax compliance. Although he admits the Revenue Mobilization Agency is within its mandate to enforce the collection of taxes, a modest approach in the enforcement, he says, will be helpful. He spoke at the Customs Controls and Regulations Forum organized by the Ghana Investment Promotion Center. Here's more in this report.
The aim of the Customs Controls and Regulations Forum is to deliberate on issues affecting businesses and the investor community. With a mandate to promote foreign and local investment in the country, the Ghana Investment Promotion Center seeks to leverage this avenue to prioritize investor concerns and inform policy reforms. Speaking to the press on the sidelines of the ceremony, Deputy Chief Executive of the GIPC, Yao Amwating Afriye, urged the Ghana Revenue Authority to be tactical in the enforcement of tax compliance.
But because, again, we are contending with a very difficult and complex fiscal environment, revenues have to come in. And if those revenues do not come in, it will be very difficult for government to finance its budget. And if government cannot finance its budget, then it places all of us at jeopardy. So it is a careful balancing act. We call on the private sector to comply with taxes, but we're also calling on GRA to be a bit more modest in terms of how they handle the private sector businesses who are compliant and continue to keep, as it were, this country afloat. It is taxes that support an economy.
He sheds more light on the rationale of the forum.
This is part of a GIPC program that engages on a quarterly basis our various stakeholders on various topics. This morning's edition for us has been long in the planning. It is a very important subject, one which cuts across regulation, the private sector, and the interaction between these very important entities, if you like.
The president of the Ghana Union Traders Association called for the harmonization of standards in the sub-region to reduce the smuggling of substandard goods into the country.
So they are doing their best. But what they should also know is that they are not succeeding because we cannot fight this in isolation. We have our neighboring countries who are also trading with us. I don't know whether we have a harmonized standard. So much as you are doing your best in the country, and this bulk of the goods is coming through, especially the Eastern Corridor, through from Nigeria, Benin, Togo to Ghana. And so what are you doing about this?
The forum witnessed a gathering of representatives from the Ghana Revenue Authority, Ministry of Finance, Food and Drugs Authority, and other relevant agencies.
Now, Standard Chartered Bank Ghana has reiterated its commitment to collaborate with clients, key stakeholders, and policymakers to address issues of unemployment in the country. Chief Executive Officer Mansa Nete said the bank aims to build partnerships between the public and private sectors to unlock the opportunities presented by various sectors of the economy. She was speaking at the launch of the RISE initiative by the bank to support entrepreneurs.
The Ready for Inclusive Sustainable Employment and Entrepreneurship will support young people with and without disabilities to have strengthened opportunities and outcomes for decent employment through increased employability skills and organizational strengthening and job creation amongst micro businesses led by young people.
Milestone of our impact journey as a bank. And I'm sure a lot of you have been reading in the press, and if you've been following us, we've been doing a lot for our community because we believe that as a bank, we should be part and parcel of the society and support it as much as we can. We live in a world where social and environmental challenges are increasing daily, impacting economic and social lives in decades to come. This has led us to a growing awareness for businesses to step up and rise to these challenges. And as a bank, we believe that we can fulfill our purpose.
Senior Programs Manager at Site Savers, David Ajiman, indicated that his outfit will continue to mentor these young entrepreneurs.
We will continue with mentorship. The mentorship will add additional skills, so that they will have the practical experience about how, to behave or how to, they will understand the job environment in practical sense as part of the mentorship. The mentorship will be followed by internship, paid internship. And again, this will continue to build their skills further. It is our hope that through this process, the job seekers will be well prepared for the job market.
And that's it for this segment. Faustina will be back to wrap up.